Hello, Awesome Soul here, and welcome to another What Is style video. This time, it's for a game I mentioned in passing a little while back, and that is Break Arts 2. So, what you can clearly gather by the game is, yes, it is a mech game, but it is also a racing game, with combat elements thrown in as well, as you can clearly see by the giant guns this thing is packing. Now, this is just a demo, however, the full game is coming out February 9th, so keep an eye out for that. But what I'm going to be doing today is showing off what I've made in the demo, and I'm going to show you a clip of the trailer, just to give you an idea of what the racing part of the game actually is. But yes, let's take a look at that trailer and see what this game's all about. So, what do you think? Pretty cool, huh? I figured most of you would enjoy something like this, because the main theme of this channel is games that involve a lot of customization. I know that I certainly like that in a game, and hopefully you will as well. Quickly going over something that was shown off in the demo in passing is the pose/animation system. You can basically use it to transform your mech if you want to get that detailed mid-battle. So here is the basic form right here. Nothing much going on, just sort of zipping around as normal. But if we activate the boosters, you'll see that the big booster array back here all comes and folds together to create a more powerful directional thrust. We can also go into override mode, which separates the thrusters a little bit by the magnet items in the game. You can kind of see them there, they're floating a little bit. Kind of impractical, but I mean, would this thing actually be able to fly? I highly doubt it. It's more for looking really cool. And then it's got these turning thrusters here. Yes, these are thrusters, and the big things on the back are boosters. Kind of a weird system, but it makes sense after a little while. Speaking of making sense, I did not optimize this thing properly. Since it was my first mech, I had no clue what the heck I was doing. So if you look at the stats in the bottom right corner, as you can see, boost acceleration is insane. 210, but its normal speed is only 50. If we go over to the basic default unit, its base speed is 175. And then the boost acceleration it gets on top of that is 141. So, I don't know, boost is okay, but the boost energy consumption uses about 80% of this thing's total power, and regeneration is going to take about 8 seconds to get back to the power it needs to do that insane boost again, and without the boost it's going way too slow. So sadly, I'm going to have to house this and maybe return to it later, but for now, we are going to switch over to this mech here and see what this one can do. So let's go into the design menu, and we'll start with the body. We can do the weapons later. So I think I'll just simply strip everything off of the vehicle. Or the mech, I guess. Now, this time, I think I'm only going to opt for a single booster. But what I do want to have is a lot of power packs. Or I think what they are actually called, if I can find them here. I think they're in armor. Yep, here we are. So they are... There we go. Sometimes it doesn't properly work, but this is just an early demo, so it kind of makes sense why it's not really working all that well. Anyways, the A6T1 just has a total energy load increase, but the little S icons down there means small, and if it doesn't have an S, it is a large one. So we got the small joints down over there and the large joints back here. So I'm not going to use that slot up with this because we can actually go into joints and pull out a 5 joint. That way we can connect a whole lot more things onto this. So, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing just yet, but I think I'll take the rotator joint. Now, it doesn't look like it can rotate, but if you right-click, you can angle it to your heart's content. You can also set it up to animate if you want to angle down only when you boost, or constantly angle down. I'm not entirely sure what constant means. Override, brake, reload, attack, on guard, etc., etc. For now, I'll just have it set like this, and that should be okay. That's not too bad. What I could do as well is have another one of these just, well, yeah, why not? And then I'll get the angle, and then if we go into boosters, we will get the large booster. Now, unfortunately, we don't have access to everything, as much as I would love to have access to everything. We'll just have to wait for the full game to come out. There are a couple annoying bugs. One of them is when you pull up the menu, you can't get rid of it sometimes. There we go. So I'm just going to opt for a single large booster, and maybe a couple smalls? I don't know. So this is the side boost thrust. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I assume it helps you corner better when you're in boost mode, perhaps? But again, I don't really know. There is this other one, sort of like a long rocket booster, but we don't have access to that either, sadly. Anyways, we're gonna go here and strap a bunch of those power packs onto ourselves, because I want to have a lot of energy on this build. So how am I going to do this? I could go with this, perhaps. Oh, I think I know what I can do. So what I can do is grab myself one of those angled pieces and angle it at a 40-degree angle. Sure, let's go with that. And we'll do the same on the other side. 40 degrees as well. And then grab ourselves one of these branching joints. And fit on those power reserves. I think that looks pretty cool. Kind of like a X shape type thing. Not too shabby. Although what I could do is add these rotating joints. Where are they? These ones. They will basically allow them to spin. Or these ones will make them spin constantly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But for now, we'll just go with that setup. Okay, so I think I've got a basic idea of what I have. It was different than I originally intended, but that's kind of what happens when you're just randomly tinkering around. So, here we are in regular mode, and then to boost mode, you see the wings don't really do anything. But then, if we go into override mode, they kind of shift out, and that's with the magnet system. You can see they're floating like that. Not really sure what purpose it really serves, but I'm just gonna chalk it up to pizzazz. Let's go with that. From there, if we can go over to brake mode, they slide back together, and then they go upwards like that. Kind of like they're slowing you down, like air drag, I guess we can call it. They're angled a little bit forward. I don't know if I want to have them completely on the side. I don't know. It's coming along, though. So now it's just going to go back to regular mode. I think I do want to increase the speed. So let's chalk it up to 9 and see what that's going to look like. So let's put it there and back to animation. Brake sticks out really quickly. Okay. I think that's good. So we've got our brake animation, we've got our regular boost animation, and we've got our override animation, kind of. I don't know if I want to add more to it. I don't know, I just had a crazy animation for my old Rocket Man build, but I don't know, maybe a little bit more subtle is the key, especially when you're just learning the game still like I am. So we're pretty much done with the backpack section. I don't know what else I could possibly add. We don't really have any of the assist parts available yet, so we can't do anything there. System, though. We could do something with system, except pretty much all of them are smalls. So I think we could do this lock on. Or maybe not. We could stick the lock on under there. Also makes kind of interesting design. Yeah, sure. Why not? Anyways, now we need to get some more turning, because currently our cornering stat is a big fat 0. Acceleration ain't too bad. Speed is acceptable. But what we do need is lots and lots and lots of turning thrusters. So we've added the load thrusters here. These increase our maximum data load. The higher your load, the slower you are, and the less bonus you'll get from turning and things like that. Now, what I think would be a good idea is adding some of these parts onto the legs. We could kind of do something like what we had before with our old build. I don't know if you saw that. So what we did was take these angle joints right here, make sure they're oriented correctly. Yep, there we are. And then we come up here back to the thrusters and turning. Yeah, they're all just turning. Okay. So let's push this down to 180 and do the same on the other side. And then it's kind of like a stiletto sort of thing, but if we go like that, it'll more or less fold up. Now, I don't think we want it poking through the other side. It could be an interesting design decision if you wanted to actually leave it there, but we're gonna have these animated for something. For what, I do not know, but it will be for something. So, let's have it at 60. I think that was 70. Sure, okay. Or we really could just leave it as is. It's not such a bad look to it right there. And then we could add these small thrusters. I want these ones. Actually, yeah, you know what? Let's do that, and just have these as little mini wings, kind of like Perseus? Is that the right Greek god I'm thinking of? The ones with the wings on its feet? Not too shabby right there. Okay. So, our cornering is looking pretty good, but now we need a couple more thrusters, I feel. So, here we are with our finished mech, more or less. I could add to it, but you guys kind of get the gist. Brake, override, and regular boost. I don't have anything for reload, attack, on guard, etc. But you can do that for the weapons, which we'll now go into right now. Save and exit this, and we will just do the left arm, because the right arm is the exact same thing. To start us off, though, let's scrap everything and start from the basics. So we need an emitter of some kind. First, though, I think we're going to get some energy. Let's grab ourselves a generator, stick that on there, and then put on the emitter, and then go... what are we gonna have? Are we gonna go straight to an amplifier, crackler, R-full, or a trap-style weapon? I don't know if you can actually get this to fire more than once. I couldn't do it, but I don't know. I'll have to play around with that more. Maybe I don't have the other parts available to me that will make it fire multiple times. So this is just going to be a really cheap and easy weapon. Something that's not going to take a lot of energy to fire, so you can fire to your heart's content, really. So we can, if we wanted to, go with a semi-homing attack or a full-on homing attack, but it uses a lot of energy to do so, so I'm going to hold off on that for now. If we go into joints, we can slap this on top, make it look kind of like a scope, even though this thing doesn't really need a scope, honestly. Then, underneath, I think we will add 2 of these capacitors. I think that looks pretty good. We've got some more weapon-style, like, magazine parts, but we don't have access to those yet, anyway. If we go to armor, these are where the cooldown parts are. So I think we can add... What are we going to add? We can add that there, and that here. And put a little bit of armor. Oh, I think I've got a pretty cool idea. So we'll add that there. Adds to your total energy and cooldown slightly. It's a pretty small part, so it doesn't add much. But what we can do is make this kind of like a bow gun of sorts. So, what are we going to do? First, before I go into that, though, I do want to have something for our cooldown animation. So let's add the rotating part, go back up to armor, grab this thing. It has a huge amount of cooldown, and hopefully it will help us out. I don't know if it's overkill at this point, but we'll see. So I want reload, start from a 0 position, and go all the way up to 360 degrees. But we're going to make it fairly slow, so we go to animation and reload. It kind of twists up like that. And then when you're done reloading, you just unwind like that. I think that's an alright animation. I could do something a bit more crazy, but for now, it will work. Now, the one thing I did want to do was the bowgun style weapon. So make sure this is oriented correctly. Okay. So we're gonna have to turn it a little bit to 90 degrees. That should work. I think this is facing the way I want. Whoops. 90 degrees. There we go. And then back up to armor. What do we have to pick from? So those are pretty beefy. They actually add to your total shield. So if you wanted a really weapon-heavy mech with like big gun arms, you could put these on instead of putting armor onto your main mech. But just for the purposes of this design, I'm gonna strap these on. Let's go that way and that way. There we go. Cool. So there's our bowgun, sort of. When it's folded away, it's just going to look like that, and like that. And how are we gonna do this? I think what we might do is do an on guard ability. So if we can angle it to 70 and it still looks fine without clipping into things. So 70 here and 70 on the other side. It's gonna spring out, so let's make it maximum speed. And on guard and on guard. Cool, so here's our little snub-nosed weapon. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage. It's got a pretty big energy reserve, so it's not going to run out of energy that quickly. I don't know how it's going to look on the mech, but I'm just going to quickly test the animation. So we have two animations on this. We have the reload animation, where it winds up. And we also have the on guard animation, where it flares out kind of like it's a bowgun ready to strike. I don't know what it's going to do for the attack animation. Okay. So that's cool. Much like how the boost and override share some animation traits, the on guard, which is where you're prepping your weapon to fire, and actually attacking share the same animations. Because reload, it'll fold back like that, and then you're ready to fire again, you flare them out like that. Looking pretty cool. So if we come back out to here, save and exit, and now we have our little tiny snub-nosed weapon on that arm, on the left arm. And in the right arm, we've got the default weapon. And things are looking pretty good. Nothing's clipping into anything. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So to close things out, I will quickly go over the paint options. Just gonna pick some random colors here because you kind of get the gist. Let's go with a nice foresty green. Sure, that works. Then you've got your subcolor. Let's go with yellow. You know what? That actually doesn't look too bad. It's like a goldeny yellow. Joint colors. This is kind of the gray we see here. We make it a nice maroon red. I don't mind that, actually. It's kind of like a Christmas tree, almost. Make it slightly more purple. There. Slightly darker. Not bad. Not bad. Doesn't really match up with the other ones. But that's okay. Accent color is basically the gold trim on all the parts. I honestly kind of dig it, but I'll just play around with it just to appease you guys. Go with... yeah, a nice shiny red. I think that looks good. And then the light color. Now this is obviously the glow color. A neon green, we could do that. Or we could bump it to there. Let's darken it a little bit. There. Okay, cool. That's actually not looking too bad. So now we can do a whole bunch of crazy poses with our mech, if it would work. There we go. So yeah, let me know what you think of this game in the comment section down below. Would you be willing to play it? I know I'll certainly be doing some videos on the channel. Don't worry about that. I might actually end up doing a live stream of it when it comes out, but we'll see. So let's just run through the animations here. So there is the override. I don't think we actually, we did have that for break. We do have override. We do have an on guard. There we are. We do have attack, kind of. And reload winds up like that. Decently noticeable from behind. And then boost. And of course, normal. So yeah, let me know what you think of this game. If you decide to make something really cool, I'll probably set up a spot on the Discord server where you can show off your creations and kind of have a interesting little competition to see who can make the best mech possible. There's no prizes, it's just bragging rights. Anyways, with that guys, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.